Hello and welcome to the channel. I am NBG, and today I'm going to be going over the rest of the professions that I have not yet talked about my starting strategy for Dragonflight. Today we're going to be talking about jewelcrafting, blacksmithing, and engineering. So let's get after it. As per usual, a disclaimer on please do whatever spec that you would like to do with these professions. We all can't go the same thing. If we did, we would all not make money. By any means, if you want to focus on, let's say, making rings for jewel crafting, whatever the case may be, do it. There's going to be a lot of great options. This is merely talking about what I'm going to be doing and why, and maybe giving you an idea. Maybe you already have an idea of what you want to do. But again, go what you feel. I just know that me personally, I don't want to deal with the hassle because I'm more of a solo player of trying to find people to sell like mythic quality gear to. And I just don't want to deal with it because I'd rather be spending my time doing other things. So a lot of my focus is going to be on most things that are going to be fairly easy to craft, and a lot of my stuff will have to do with things that I can just post to the auction house so I can get back to playing the game. But again, that is a strategy that I'm going with. I am going to have one thing that I focus on, and we talked about in the last videos. I'm going to be going for the Dark Moon decks and whatnot, mostly because that is done on main characters of mine. But for the most part, most of my strategy is purely around things that are either going to be daily oriented or just things that I can get posted to the auction house. We are starting this episode with jewel crafting. Now, jewel crafting is an interesting one for me because I do believe there is a few options that you could go. You know, I've talked about in my original videos on the beta of going over the different things you could do. You could focus on, you know, making specific gems, or whatever the case may be, if that's what you wanted to do. A very, very good option, I think, is to focus on jewelry, and specifically whether it's necklaces or rings, and just be the best on your server at doing that. That's going to make a killing. Especially consider, and it's really high on my list where I might do it, but I think I might have a second jewel crafter for doing this. I will eventually come out with a video talking about that and how I'm going to have multiple of different ones and what they're going to be focused on, but that's going to be at a later date. I do think going like something like rings is going to be exceptionally good because think about it, everybody needs rings, right? It's not like making male shoulders or something where only the male, you know, people can wear those, whatever the case would be. Rings, everybody uses these, so there's a pretty high potential to have a big market, right? So this is a great option, and I may do this, but I don't think on my main. My main happens to be a jewel crafter. I don't think that's the direction I'm going to go on my main, but maybe I should flip-flop them. Either way, let's get into what I'm going to do and why. What I think I'm going to do, and it's not even what I think I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do, is I'm going to be pushing, in particular, enterprising into glassware. Now, there's a couple reasons for that. As we go into enterprising, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, I've picked enterprising. Oh, I guess I need to quickly get some skill. 1 second. Now that I have some spec points, where would I do with him? I'm going to be pushing into enterprising, and I'm specifically probably either going to go 10 or 15. I think I'm going to go 15 first into enterprising. And the reason for this is, as you go, you learn to create the blotting sand, a finishing reagent often undesired by scribes. Not a big deal, but it's there. You're, gain the ability to use polishing cloth and applying finishing touches to your designs. But more importantly, I would go 15 specifically to get here to learn how to create the empty soul cage, which can be used with the engineer crafted Zap Throttle Soul Inhaler to capture elemental souls. I do think that this is obviously going to be super important because in order to use that Zap Throttle, you will need an empty cage. So just being able to rush the ability to do this right away, I think is relatively important rather than just stopping at 10. Because if you stop at 10, you can just get to glassware, which is what we're trying to do. But I do think I'm going to go to 15 just for the ability to make that empty soul cage. Then, really what I'm trying to do is I'm going to be going into glassware. And in particular, I'm going to max glassware immediately. So obviously this is already like 60 points into the expansion. It's not going to happen right away, but this is the direction I'm going. Now, the reason I'm going here is because you can learn how to create the projection prism, which allows players to take the appearance of another player for a short while. Not why I'm here, but I'm just saying that's what you get when you go here. This is the big stuff. The cooldown of creating gem hordes is reduced by 50%. Increase the yield of gem hordes. Learn how to create the split lens specs, a cosmetic that you can make. You have the jeweled dragon hearts, which is a gem horde that offers a variety of gems. This is a big one. And then the further one is further increases the yield of gems from hordes. That is what I'm rushing as a daily generator, kind of like with what I'm doing with alchemy. There is a couple things in here like a cosmetic and the inhaler, or whatever the hell it's called, the empty soul cage, and there's other things that we can create, hopefully to make some money or gold. But primarily, this is just to push your daily processes. And where those look, if you haven't seen them, I actually grabbed some stuff just so you can see, is you have these. These are dailies that you can do, the Time Watcher's Patience. You open it up and it can give you some gems. Here, let's go ahead and do one. As you see, we're going to go ahead and boom, we're going to make that. You can see I now have 20 hours until I can do it again. At least that's what this says. Whether or not that's right, I don't know. But as you can see, here it is, and I don't know, let's open it up. Is it going to work? Oh, it did work, right? So I got the 4 of the tier 2 Nozdrites from opening that smaller one. Now, that here only takes 4 of these little ones, 1 silken gemstone, and 3 fractured glass. So this is going to be relatively super cheap, and you should hopefully just be able to make gold by turning some crappy stuff into a little bit better stuff. However, here's the big thing, is that this in particular can be done up to the tier 3 quality, and the tier 3 quality, obviously you're going to be getting better quality stuff back. So one of the big things is pushing to where I can get the quality up to like basically guaranteeing that I'm at least getting tier 3 on this every single day I do it. That's kind of the goal that I'm going to have. However, as you see over here, there is other dailies that you can do. All of these are daily cooldowns. You have the Enterprise, the Keeper's Glory, Queen's Gift, all of these that you can do. They're all dailies. It doesn't look like you can like just do one of these and then they all share the cooldown. It looks like you're going to be able to do every single one of these every single day. So after I get my 45 into here, which I do think I would push all the way to 45, by the way. After I do that, like now your next option, I think, is to unlock the ability to do the other daily cooldowns. In order to do that, you need to go into faceting, and you need to get, this needs to be your second one, and you need to apply 10 points here. Applying 10 points allows you to then learn the subspecs. I do believe you just need to get, and you might be able to do this maybe a few points early if you want to do it earlier, that's up to you. But getting 10 points into here allows you to learn these subspecs, and all you have to do is, so if I learned one of these, it would then say, hey, you need to do 20 into faceting to learn the next one. Okay, so you go into 20, apply it, I can learn another one, whatever one you want to do, apply the changes. Each points you're putting in here, you can then unlock these secondary ones. That is up to you. In doing so, this will give you other daily cooldowns to unlock. Like that was the fire and something else. So you can see now we have both of these. So like, let me go ahead and do the fire one. We can go ahead and see it's going to be at tier 2 unless it procs. And you can see I can even do the other one. It's not, I can't, it's not locked out because I did the other one. So as we go here, I can open this one. That one gave me 6 of those. This one gave me 5 of those. The idea is basically just to make money by flipping small stuff into bigger stuff, right? Like that's a small daily thing I can do to guarantee profits. You don't have to go for these, because one of the big things that you get for going deep into enterprising into this point, I think right here, like this is a spot maybe you could stop, whatever you want to do, but once you get to this, you get the jeweled dragon's heart. That cooldown is like a bigger, better version of this cooldown. This one up here requires a bunch of smaller gems. And let's go ahead and do that. So you can see there's just a bunch of the smaller gems and then 3 of the silken dust. As you can see, it does not have a quality level. It does have a resourcefulness, so obviously if you had some resourcefulness, there's a chance you wouldn't have to spend some of this. Let's go ahead and create one of these. Boom. So we now have that. Now let's go ahead and open that sucker. That thing, as you can see, basically gave us random multiple, like, higher tier ones. 4 of that one, 3 of that one, 2 of that one. Do know that all of this is with the nodes that I have taken to give additional yield that are in the specialization. So I really do think finishing... Here, I'll show you. I really do think that getting all the way into here to further increase the yield, I think is an important to go for me. 15. I will go 45, and then I will make a choice after that. I do think that my choice after doing so and getting like those 2 main dailies, like the daily here and the daily you get from right here, after getting those, actually I don't even know if it's from right here. No, it's not from right here. I think you just get it normally at like level 25 or something. Anyway, you have that daily and then this daily. Once I have both of those, well, I'm going to go all the way, but once I have the 45 into here, I think instead of focusing on maybe getting one of the other daily gem ones, I'm probably going to do something along the lines of just getting additional skill. And I'm just going to get additional skill until I can guarantee that this is like always tier 3. Next up today we have blacksmithing. For me, blacksmithing, is going to be a little bit more boring. As I've already put out in my tier video, I do think blacksmithing is going to be top tier for money making, just given all the great armor and weapons and everything that you can make here. I think most people's choice is going to be picking one of these things, like long blades, short blades, you know, hammers if you want to make the boots, if you want to make helms or shields, and rushing that. Pick any one of those you want and kind of rush it. Fantastic choice. Just for kind of like my strategy and whatnot, it's not what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is supply to the people like you who are going to be doing those things. I am going to go specifically specialty smithing initially, and I'm going to be pushing up just to get to the ability to get into smelting, and I'm going to be pushing my smelting up to for the multi-craft and everything. So you have each one of these gives you +1 skill, and then eventually you'll gain the multi-craft bonuses here for crafting, for smelting alloys and other reagents. So I'm going to be pushing that, and after I push that, then it's just a matter of getting skill. So going back probably in here and getting skill, anything that's going to give me skill for it. This, I believe, also, this is just a generic skill. So after that, after I can at least multi-craft here, I am going to then push skill and maybe inspiration, which is what, down here, right? Yeah, if I need it or if I want it, for whatever the case may be. And that's just going to be so that I can pump out more alloys, right? I want the inspiration. I want, in particular, I just want to be able to get it to where I can reliably hit quality 3 and then hope that some multi-craft kicks in to make extra money. Resourcefulness isn't bad. I'm going all in specifically on making the alloys, which means getting my skill high enough to get to tier 3 first. After that, making sure I have some multi-craft. If I can get to tier 3 without inspiration, then I will probably focus on stuff like resourcefulness just to use less goods, and then potentially hit multi-craft, save goods and multi-craft, so on and so forth, to just make these as cheaply as possible to make profit off of it. That's the direction I'm going. It's really boring. I think it's much better to be like, oh man, I'm going to make the best two-handed, you know, mace in the game, or sword, or whatever, you know, the best two-handed mace right here. You know, that's more of a fun one. But because I, again, don't want to be, I can't be arsed to one, put a lot, you gotta have to put in a lot of effort to get it up to like that final tier. One, doing that, but then just trying to like kind of make business for myself, given that I'm pretty much a solo player as is. Yeah, I just don't want to deal with it. I would much rather be good or be better at others at making things for the auction house and selling it there for the most part. So at the end of the day, as I've stated numerous times, I do think focusing on one of these things, focusing on the boots or something like that, and being the best at making them at mythic quality, that's going to be your best goal at the end of the day. Once you get to that point and you're the dude who, or dudette, I guess, who can make those at top tier, everybody's going to be, hopefully, after your name gets out there, people are going to have to come to you to get that. You can then charge, or however it's going to work. That's something I'm worried about too. But hopefully your commission can be really good at crafting that at super high quality, and you can make tons and tons of gold that way, hopefully at the end of the day, for less time than maybe what I'm going to have to be doing like the entire expansion. But again, my direction, I'm going smelting. I'm focusing on creating these alloys, and it's everything to make these alloys at the highest tier quality, at the highest at its highest tier, so up to quality 3. Then after I can get it to quality 3 reliably, then it's all about, multi-craft and resourcefulness to just make even more on the procs of resourcefulness and multi-craft. And that is my plan for blacksmithing. Last and probably least for me, at least, is engineering. I'm not a giant fan of engineering. I mean, you have cool things you can make, like the goggles. Eventually, when you can make the bracers, I think that's going to be a good moneymaker in particular. Let's see, one of these, as you grab it, you have a chance when you make items to learn the recipe for making the bracers. I already forgot where that went. Where'd it go? Was it here? One of these, it was like the first one. Am I just overlooking it? Probably. Either way, you can do that. What I'm probably going to do, just because I'm not really big into engineering, is I think I'm going to go Mechanical Mind and Novelties. As you go Mechanical Mind, this opens up the wormhole generator. I think it's like super random though, so like in order to get it better, first of all, you can have portable workstations, will then last twice as long. As you get into here, you can reduce the cooldown by 50% of the generator, and then eventually you can learn how to create the Savior, which is a friendly and helpful robot who will offer moral support and team-wide resurrection in the event of an untimely demise. So this one's not bad to have a res on hand for raids, so like building up into here. But I like specifically getting into novelties, because again, this is where the novelty stuff at, and this is usually why I would do something like engineering. It's for the novelty kind of junk. I'm not usually there to make gold. It's definitely not high on my list of things I'm going to focus on. But getting the ability to create some of these, this allows party and raid members to experience the thrill of Azeroth's weather on their own terms. This was actually a pretty cool item. Getting in here to do that. This is a cannon which allows you to fire faded fortune cards at a friendly target. Not super interested. A element infused rocket helmet, which is a toy that propels you far into the sky. That sounds useful and fun to me, especially if other people can use it as well. Here you have the Giggle Goggles. Here you have Environmental Emulator, which is a toy that allows party members to perceive their surrounding environment in unexpected but familiar ways. And then the last one is learn how to tap into the signal transmitters scattered across the Dragon Isles to triangulate your wormhole generator to specific locations. But for me, very, very boring choice. I'm going Mechanical Mind. I'm going right into novelties, just to be able to make some of the fun toys. And there you have it. That's the last of the professions that I haven't covered yet. the TLDW on this, the too long didn't watch, is I do think I have a really good plan, which I think that's worth watching. I do think I have a good plan for jewel crafting on being able to push the basically the dailies, the daily cooldowns, to be able to push those and get as much as I can for those, just to make some some side gold that way daily. I think that's a strong choice. I'm kind of torn. I originally wanted to go rings in particular, because I do think that's going to be a great market, given that everybody wears rings. So being the first to be able to make those at the top tier, I think obviously everybody is a potential buyer for you, and same thing with necks for that matter. I think that's a great option. And I may do that on a second jewel crafter, but I do think for my main jewel crafter, it's just going to be getting the dailies done, and I'm going to push that direction. For blacksmithing, again, I think I have a good plan of just pushing the ability to smelt basically at the highest tier and make those alloys at the highest tier possible for the least amount of resources, and potentially some multi-craft. That's the direction I'm going there. And then engineering, honestly, engineering is very, very low on my list. It's not something I'm really big on. I do think the bracers, potentially the goggles or something like that, could be a great option. I don't even know if the goggles can be made for other people. I'm assuming they can. I gotta be honest there. I do know that the bracers you can be able to make for others and apply tinkers and stuff. That's a great option. But in particular, I'm just there to make the fun toys in engineering. That's all that's going to be for me for the most part. So with that, if you like the video, please sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know what I can do better. Let me know what you would like to see. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video.